very good afternoon and welcome to yet another edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jad Abdin. We start off with a look at your headlines.
Newsfirst headline.
In headlines, AKD criticizes Wickramasinghe's tactics. Sri Lanka collects 1.2 trillion rupees in tax revenue. Japan scrambles jets as Russian aircraft circles country. And in sports, one-off test between Afghanistan and New Zealand called off without a ball bowled. And now your news in detail. In local news, independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickramasinghe emphasized the direct link between GDP growth and increased salaries, advocating for a shift towards an export-oriented economy as the primary solution. He outlined his vision for transforming Sri Lanka's economy through a focus on exports, modernization and sustainable growth. Now here's what the independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickramasinghe had to comment on the matter.
If our GDP increases, your salaries increase. So how do we do that? The first is we must move towards an export-oriented economy. There is no other way out. So everyone has to look at exports. The whole medical service should be one in which, while we cater to our people, a surplus is earned by catering outside to other patients. That's why I want to see a good health service develop both for our people and for out. Otherwise, all these issues can never be resolved with the internal, the way the GDP develops and up. We have to go for about 7-8% growth over a period of time. And we are looking at new sectors. I'm looking at modernizing agriculture, bringing smart agriculture, which also means that the rural poverty will cease. People will be more prosperous.
In more local news, National People's Power presidential candidate Anurukumara Dissanayake issued a strong challenge to independent presidential candidate Ranil Wickramasinghe during a business meeting held in Mathura. Dissanayake dismissed Wickramasinghe's political tactics as mere drama, emphasizing the need for responsible leadership to address the country's crisis. Dissanayake emphasized the need for a robust economy that revives the production of goods and services in Sri Lanka. Dissanayake outlined the roles of both the government and entrepreneurs in this economic revival. He stressed that the government, accountable to the people, must prepare comprehensive plans to rescue the economy from its current crisis. He called for collaboration with experienced professionals to set clear economic targets and strategies. Still in local news, the Inland Revenue Department announced a milestone in tax revenue collection for the period from January to August 2024, amounting to 1.229 trillion rupees, while this marks a notable increase compared to the same period last year. The department highlighted that this favorable growth at 28.5% increase from 956 billion collected during the same period in 2023 can be attributed to several factors. These include the implementation of new tax policies, a gradual improvement in the country's economic situation, and enhanced efficiency in tax administration. The breakdown of tax revenue collection by type includes corporate and non-corporate income tax amounting to 624,439 million rupees, value-added tax at 468,863 million rupees, social security contribution levy at 122,917 million rupees, betting and gaming levy at 11,355 million rupees, share transaction levy at 1,453 million rupees, and other taxes at 219 million rupees. Up next is international news.
International news.
In news overseas, Japan scrambled fighter jets after Russian aircraft flew around the archipelago for the first time in 5 years, Tokyo's defense ministry confirmed. From Thursday morning to afternoon, the Russian Tu-142 aircraft flew from the sea between Japan and South Korea towards the southern Okinawa region, according to a statement by the Defense Ministry. They then went northwards after the Pacific Ocean to finish their journey off northern Hokkaido Island, it added, while the planes did not enter Japanese airspace but flew over an area subject to a territorial dispute between Japan and Russia, an official confirmed. Up next is your update on sports.
Sports news.
And in sports, the first ever test between Afghanistan and New Zealand ended on a sad but predictable note as the game was called off without a ball being bowled. It was only the 8th such instance in the test history and the first since 1998. There was an air of inevitability around the call after there was no play in the first 4 days and heavy rains ended the last two as early as 9:15 am. The rain returned on the 5th morning, prompting the umpires to pull the plug at 8:45 am. The clouds hung low and the covers were drenched yet again at the Great Noida Sports Complex ground, while a pool of water had formed near one of the boundaries and a few puddles were scattered across the uncovered grass in the outfield. And with that, we wrap up this edition of the YES101's Visual Radio. For the Newsfirst team, I've been Joad Abdin. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.